Welcome to our weekly program, The Inside Story of Chabad in America through the Mindel Archives. Since we are around January 1st, so I want to mention that when Rabbi Mindel, he told me, he once came to the Rebbe, and it was January 1st, New Year's. So the Rebbe, he walked in, the Rebbe told him, Happy New Year. He was taken aback. I heard that also to Rabbi Hecht, he said that. But Rabbi Mindel told me, he told him. So Rebbe saw that, he was like surprised the Rebbe should say that. So the Rebbe said to him, it says in Tillim, Hashem Yispar Bichsoiv Amim. The Rebbe, God counts according to the calculation of nations. And that's probably why we can write a check of, let's say, 2003. That's not the real, the year, but because Hashem Yisra B'chsoiv Amim. Now, since it's around January 1st, there was a Maaseh of the Baal Shem, and some people say it was the Ruzhiner. I heard it was the Ruzhiner. Let's say the Ruzhiner or the Baal Shem, doesn't make a difference. And this was New Year's, January 1st. I think, or maybe it was the 25th of December. I'm not sure. I think it was New Year's. And the Talmidim were by the Ruzhiner. So the Ruzhiner told them that whatever you see and you hear, you should learn out in Avodas Hashem. Whenever a Jew sees or hears, learn out how to serve God. Something. It's not happening that you saw something. If you saw something, there is a reason why you saw it. Good. They walked out. The first thing they saw, in Poland, in Russia, was very cold, freezing. So the river froze. So Goyim, what did they do? They made a tselom, a cross, on the ice, on the cold river, it was ice, and they cut around the cross, and they picked up the cross, and they were walking all night with the tzelom and singing. This is what they did. This was their minog then, in Russia, Poland. So the Talmidim just heard that the Ruzhiner, the Rebbe told them, whatever you hear and you see, you should learn out Avodas Hashem. What can we learn from a cross? Especially, the first thing we saw was that. What can we learn? So they went back to the Ruzhiner or the Baal Shem. So the Ruzhiner said to them that from here you learn out, the way my Schapiro told me, something or someone becomes cold, the end is, they'll end up to be at Salem. Kaltkeit Amolik is Krir, that's Amolik. Asher Korcha Baderech, Krirus, cold. In America, to be a cool, they say always, I hear he's cool, a cool guy. That's a yichas. Big yichas to cool. Cool is the opposite of Kedusha, the opposite of holiness, the opposite of Torah. That's Amalek is cool. Here in America, because it's an Amreika, it's an empty land, so they say a cool, he's cool. It's not a yichas. Cool is the opposite. As a matter of fact, the Rebbe said in a Sikha once, it says in the Mishnah, that when a person stands Shemoneh Esrei, and and a snake goes around his feet, he should continue davening, he shouldn't stop. But when an akrav and a scorpion around his feet, he has to stop. What's the difference between a snake and a scorpion? They both are poison. The nature of a snake, if it bites you, the body becomes hot and the person dies. A scorpion bites you, the body becomes cold and a person dies. If in the middle of Kedusha, in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei, if a machshava, a thought, a bad thought, taivus, a koch, taivus, falls into your head, don't worry. By continuing davening, you will change the koch from to Kedusha, from the taivus to Kedusha. But when kaltkeit falls in, a cold, he doesn't care. Doesn't care. A person doesn't care is the worst thing. And some people argue with me many times about the moon of faith. If you argue, is good. as long as they argue. But if a person is cold, so this is what kaltkeit is the extra zach. So this is what he told him, that in food kaltkeit, if a person kalt can become a tzelum, that's the worst thing. So since we are around this time, I want to mention a few months ago, I mentioned somebody asked the Rebbe that they're going on vacation. No, there was a few letters, and they want to visit the Pope. And can they go to the Vatican and visit the Pope? What's wrong with it? Anyways, I'm not going to repeat that again because the Rebbe was shocked. I said that already. The Rebbe was very shocked, and to hear such a question, even to see that the Rebbe said about the Pope, about the whole thing. I don't want to go into that. So a person wrote to the Rebbe now from Italy, and I'll tell you what he wrote to the Rebbe, and later I'll tell you what the Rebbe answered. It's short. He says like this: after the Pope was invited to the shul in Rome, there was a shul in Rome that the Pope was invited. I wrote a letter. This person writes, I wrote a letter to the newspaper of the Jewish newspaper in Italy. The letter was not advertised because they didn't want to hide. They wanted to hide the rabbi's name, so it was not in the newspaper. Now I changed the letter, and I have Mara Mekaimis. I have certain Mekaimis from the Rambam, from Vadia Yosef, even from the Rebbe. How you're not supposed to invite the Pope, or you're not supposed to go to a Pope. So I want to ask the Rebbe. He says, if I should send what he's going to show, what I'm going to read to you, just a paragraph, to Lubavitcher newspaper in Italy, or I should give it to Rabbanim, and please look it over and answer me. So here is what he wrote. He wrote like this, that the Rebbe should look this over. And I'm going to read, this is written in Italian. And I had somebody translate this from Italian. He says like this. And the Rebbe looked it over. Newspapers and magazines from around the world gave extensive coverage to the Pope's visit to the synagogue. This is not surprising at all. A Pope hugging a rabbi is an event that makes the news, and the Vatican. The visit to the synagogue served and was probably planned to improve the image of the Pope after the hug with the head of the Arab terrorists. The meeting in the synagogue was more than a mistake. It was a Chilul Hashem. The meeting in the synagogue. Since the Beis HaMikdash of Jerusalem was destroyed, is called Mikdash Ashul, is called Mikdash Miyat. That's a small sanctuary, and has rules similarly to those that regulated behavior in the sanctuary of Jerusalem. When the Beis HaMikdash was in existence, a non-Jew could offer sacrifices in his personal capacity. One, but he was not permitted to come as a representative of an Avodah Zorah, much less with idols in his possession. The instructions of idols into the sanctuary was considered such a serious thing that when the emperor gave the order to introduce a statue of himself into the temple of Jerusalem, our ancestors took to the streets in their thousands to demonstrate, risking their own lives and the lives of the wives and the children. Number two, the fast of 17th of Tammuz was established, among other reasons, for the fact that on that day a certain, Roman, introduced an idol into the temple. And three, the Pope was instead allowed to come and speak from the pulpit of the synagogue in Rome as a representative of his religion and with an image hanging around his neck. And he brings down the Isur, he brings down for Moshe Feinstein, he brings down here from the Rebbe, he brings from Vadia Yosef that how you're not allowed to. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But the last three lines he writes over here, the Pope's visit it was organized in an inappropriate way and in the wrong place. And the rabbis who participated behaving in contrast to Jewish law erred and caused the leaders of the Jewish community and many other Jews in Italy and abroad to err. This is what he writes, and he wants the Rebbe should look over. There's more over here, which I have no time to read that now. What he wrote here about the Pope, because he spoke over there certain things that's not important to repeat it. So I want to tell you what the Rebbe answered him. So the Rebbe answered like this: that he should not. The Rabbanim should be notified about this, what happened. Then he wrote, but not to make a shturim in the newspaper. And then the Rebbe wrote the whole thing. It's a shame what happened. We know the history of the Pope and what happened by the Holocaust. And the Rebbe wrote certain things that I don't want to mention now. And it was a big chil Hashem. And I know that somebody, Bichlal, nothing to do with this, that there were people that went to the Pope, and the Rebbe said certain things that I couldn't mention. So we know that people that want to go to visit and they want to go to vacation, they should not go to the Vatican. And this is something that, since now it's around January 1st, I thought I would share this with you. Thank you.